He was telling you that you needed to go on medication.
Without directly telling me, girl, you need meds.
Was he right?
Well, yes.
So what do you I mean, you do have a happy tone in your voice. Is this the person who saved you, Michelle?
Oh, hell no. I hate his guts.
So what did the bipolar say to the schizophrenic? You're in the right place to find out.
Welcome to a brand new season of A Bipolar, a Schizophrenic, and a podcast. We want to shout out our sponsor, BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month by going to betterhelp.com/BSP22. Michelle!
Gabe.
It is episode number 1.
Gabe, it's episode number 100 bazillion.
I just said that. No, it's episode number 1 of season 2.
Oh, okay. Season 2 is a good season.
Did you think we were on a bazillion?
You know, I don't know how time works these days in this panoramic we live in. I don't know if it's Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, in like the beginning of the panoramic, you were thinking every day, let's just get drunk because it was the beginning.
No,
and then it was like, dude, we can't just get drunk every single day. This thing is never ending. And I was like, yeah, we have to like change our lives or something because the beginning of the panoramic, you know what I'm saying?
No, it's a pandemic. It's a pandemic.
Whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call this, COVID.
You should call it a pandemic because it was a pandemic.
Corona, whatever, Delta, whatever you want to call it, just call it whatever you want to do. But like, I'm over it already. I'm over it. Can it go away?
I think everybody is over it. And we're sincerely hoping that by bringing back a bipolar, a schizophrenic, and a podcast, this will provide some joy in clearly people's otherwise meaningless life. I mean, there's been a void that only Gabe and Michelle can fill. And we're going to fill it with what?
2 truths and a lie.
Excellent. So here are the rules. For those of you who listened to the previous iteration of a Bipolar Schizophrenia podcast, it was a free-for-all. We could do whatever we want. But in season 2.0, all of our truths and lies have to exist between the time period of the ending of the last season and right now. So pretty much about the last 2.5 years.
I did not follow those rules.
I did.
I did not.
You just...
I didn't realize that was the rule. I thought you just said then, but I didn't go with that. I was thinking and then I just started thinking of things because I don't know what happens. And I tried my best and I didn't do that. I didn't realize that was a rule.
Wow. Okay. Well, that is apparently no longer a rule. It's a free for all. I did mine from the time of the last season to now, and Michelle, as per usual, did whatever she wanted. Michelle, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I can go first because
all right.
these truths and then like a lie and then I got to think of these things because I don't know what I live. Okay. So I was thinking about jobs and weird things that had to do with schizophrenia and me working. And this was a very simple one. I quit a job after 3 days because it affected my mental health so badly that I had to change all of my meds because of it. That's it.
That's it. That's story number 1.
It was such a horrible job that I just left after 3 days, wrote them an email, moving forward, I'm not coming in anymore, and then I had to change all my meds. That's a good one, right, Gabe? That's a good one.
I mean,
you can follow up on questions.
That's a barn burner.
I can answer your questions, but I was trying to come up with these truths, and I feel
like I worked harder. All right. Here is mine. At the beginning of the pandemic, when everything shut down, I didn't know what to do about my routines. I have very strict routines to manage bipolar disorder, and because those routines got disrupted, I had so much depression and anxiety because the routines were gone. So it caused me like agitation, anxiety, depression. I became really withdrawn and I decided as a solution, this was my solution, Michelle, that because my daytime routine was messed up so much that to get through it, I would just sleep all day. But in order to sleep all day, I had to stay up all night. And the worst that it got is I forced myself to stay up for like 48, 50 hours in a row so that I could sleep the entire day and not have to worry about the routine disruption. And it didn't work. I just laid in bed all day crying at just how the losing my routine was hard. It was that at one point, all of my coping skills were illegal. That is my first story, which again happened between the last show ending and now. So we've got 2 stories out of the gate. Michelle got fired.
No, I quit.
Fine. Michelle got quit because she was about to get fired, and Gabe tells a heartwarming story about how the pandemic ruined his routine and impacted his mental health. All right, story number 2. Michelle, you are up.
So this is another one that I had to think of. So one time
At band camp?
I'm not sure. No. I went on a job interview, but I think they confused me for the wrong person. So I kind of just pretended I was the other person. And I just kept answering all the questions that I didn't know any of the answers to. But I started getting one of those, like, feelings like, you ever like go somewhere and someone thinks you're kind of cooler than you are. So then you try to be cooler than you are. So I was trying to be like cooler than I was, and I was just kind of answering the questions, but I didn't know what I was talking about because they were like, wait, what time was your interview? 7:30? Or what? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm here. They're like, they're asking me my name, and they kept asking me, and I was, yeah, oh yeah. But I didn't get that job.
I feel like I need to say, Michelle, that any story that involves you saying, hey, I'm trying to be cooler than I am, has to be the lie. Because you believe with all confidence that you are the end all be all of coolness and awesome.
I don't know. It was a job interview. They thought I was somebody else. It was a fashion job interview where they thought I was somebody else. It was very uncomfortable because I kept having to pretend that I knew what they were talking about, and I nodded and nodded. And I've done that on many interviews, but this one, I didn't know what I was talking about. You never lied on a job interview?
That's exactly how you got this job. That is how you got this job. You pretended to know what you were talking. You're like, podcast. Yeah, I've been podcasting since 85. I believed you. You're like, I'm a public speaker. Remember when we met and you were like, I'm a public speaker? I should have followed up with, and how many times? Because you would have been like, 4. Yeah. It's just confidence will get you anywhere. That is a Michelle Hammer quote.
Listen, I public speak all the time at my pop-up shop.
You public speak in subways, but that is a symptom of schizophrenia. All right, my second story. Ready?
I'm ready.
As everybody knows, and as Michelle knows, the show ended because there was some animosity.
Yes.
Just going to go with animosity. And recently I did this whole revamp of my email, and I found drafts. When the show ended, Michelle and I, we were kind of at odds. So we didn't speak for about 6 months, but this made me sad. And I kept trying to figure out how to reach out to Michelle, and I would start these emails or texts, and ultimately I would decide not to send them because I was afraid that she would read them wrong or that it just wasn't the right time. And I found one of these in my draft. My drafts, because the Google saves everything. Google is basically a hoarder. But anyways, here is the email. I'm just going to read it verbatim. I know I'm not the easiest person to get along with, and I have my issues, but I never lied to you, and I complimented you both privately and publicly constantly. It hurt me, honestly, more than I should be willing to admit, that you could never bring yourself to say anything nice about me. I realize now that my anger was just hiding my actual emotion, which was sadness. I wanted your respect, I wanted your approval, and I wanted you, perhaps unfairly, to validate my efforts. It made me angry that you would not, and eventually I decided that you didn't give a shit about me. All right. That is my number 2.
I mean, I could see that happening because that sounds just like you to say that.
Well, but even if it was a lie, it would still be written by me.
I mean, if it is a lie, you wrote a letter that sounds just like you. Okay.
It's moments like these, I'm glad we don't have video. Michelle, your story number 2.
No, this is number 3.
It's your story number 3?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not good at counting.
Okay, story number 3.
I apparently can only count to 2.
Story number 3. Okay. I was interning at this company, and I wanted to be chosen to like level up, get a job. So I have a meeting with my boss, and he's kind of telling me these stories of when he was younger and how he had to go on medication, and he was younger, he was working somewhere, and he had to go on medication.
Hang on. Was he younger and was he on medication?
That's what he kept saying to me. And I worked here and I worked there and things were working out and I had to go on medication. And I swear to God, he said
Did
it.
he have to go on medication?
That's what I'm saying. He kept saying it over and over and over again to me when I was not medicated at this time. So basically, he was telling me, you need to go on medication.
He was telling you that you needed to go on medication.
Without directly telling me, girl, you need meds.
Was he right?
Well, yes.
So what do you I mean, you do have a happy tone in your voice. Is this the person who saved you, Michelle?
Oh, hell no. I hate his guts.
Yeah, but he was right about you need to go on medication.
I was working on it at that point. I was working on it. I was getting there.
Now, by working on it, illuminate our listeners. Do you mean like you were doing nothing, but the thought was in your head? Or did you actually have like an appointment?
I was seeing the therapist who was then going to get me to see my psychiatrist.
Okay, I only bring that up because of the number of people that you and I talk to that are like, I'm working on it. And we're like, okay, what exactly have you done? And they're like, I worked on it. I'm like, okay, but like, what steps have you taken? I'm working on it. Okay, but like if you had to write down like step 1, step 2, step 3, what would you write there? And they would like step 1, I, step 2, M, step 3, working, step 4, on.
Yeah.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is not a crisis line and it's not self-help. Instead, it's professional therapy done securely online. BetterHelp will determine your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist in under 48 hours. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses, plus you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, so you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as with traditional therapy. Visit betterhelp.com/BSP22 and get 10% off your first month. Join the over 2 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. Go to betterhelp.com/BSP22.
And we're back playing Two Truths and a Lie.
All right, Michelle, my number 3. I see other people who are happy. I do. I look around and they're happy. I think you, Michelle, are happy. And I ask them, like when I see people who are happy, I ask them almost like a science project. I say, hey, are you happy? And people who aren't messed up like me, they're just like, yeah, of course I'm happy. And I say, how? Like what makes you happy? And they'll describe like events or actions and moments and things in their life that gives them joy, makes them feel joy. And then I go and duplicate them. I duplicate them as best as I can by doing things like it's weird. I got a dog. I cuddle with my dog. I got a house, and I do all the things that other people are doing who say that it makes them happy. And I'm always left wanting. I do all of the things that make other people happy, and they never make me happy. Now let's fast forward to the pandemic. The pandemic really exacerbated this because there was no distractions. I couldn't go out. I wasn't working as much. I wasn't traveling. I was just sitting at home, just really thinking about this. And I don't know that I'm able to be happy. I think it might be a bit like expecting a fish to climb a tree. It's just an unreasonable thing for them. It's almost mean. And there's a lot of negativity in my life. And I suppose there probably is a counterbalance of positivity, but for whatever reason, I can't feel the positive. I only ever feel the negative. And because of the pandemic, I've just become increasingly aware that happiness is not a goal for me. And I don't know what to do with that.
Well, that was uplifting.
It's called Two Truths and a Lie. It's called A Bipolar, a Schizophrenic, and a Podcast. It's not called Blow Sunshine Up Your Ass and Make You Feel
It's
better.
Like, be sad. Just be sad. Gabe is mopey. Gabe's sad.
Wow. Jeez, and you wonder why I can only absorb negativity. See, let me give you a life lesson, Michelle. Most people, upon hearing that their friend is sad, they'd be like, dude, I love you. You my boy. Like, we cool. I don't find you annoying. Nope, not Michelle. She's like, yeah, you know those horrible instincts that are built into you? I will dump gas on that fire.
That's right.
You're lucky I know you love me, like sincerely. You are lucky that I know that you love me. Otherwise, this would be Bipolar, a Podcast, and a Schizophrenic breakup 2.0.
2.0.
2.0, that's
the bicentennial.
That's not a bicentennial, it's just the number 2. Where did you get bicentennial?
Listen, you don't have to know where I come up with things. They just happen. So I don't know why you're asking all these questions. We're in a panoramic. We don't even know with Corona and Delta and shots, and you got to get a booster shot. You got to get a flu shot. You got to get all these shots. Everyone's just getting shots everywhere.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Michelle, but what I do know is that we have now completed 2 truths and a lie. We have each told 3 stories, 2 of them being true, 1 of them being a lie. Michelle told, I don't know, I can't even figure out what the hell Michelle is doing. And then, of course, Michelle has accused me of bringing down the podcast about living with bipolar and schizophrenia and not making it uplifting. You sound like every therapist I've ever seen ever. So thank you for walking into that trap. All right, Michelle, which one is my lie?
The first one.
This is awkward. I don't remember what the first one was.
With the one about you not sleeping?
That is the lie. You nailed it. You nailed it.
Gabe, do you know how I know that?
Just out of curiosity, why?
Okay. Why? You are the number 1 person to talk about sleep hygiene. You not doing good sleep hygiene is so obviously a lie because you talk about sleep hygiene all the time. You explain sleep hygiene. You're always telling people, oh, sleep in this, sleep this, blah, 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 sleep hygiene. Oh, and more, but you're staying up for how many hours to sleep all day? Absolutely not. That is the antithesis of you to not practice sleep hygiene.
I don't know if you used that word correctly, but if you did, kudos.
Thank you.
All right, Michelle, your lie. I don't think you quit. You've been fired.
No, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Is it true? How? You've been fired 14? How many times have you quit?
Twice.
I mean, I knew about the 14 firings, but you've also got quitting in there?
Uh-huh.
How many jobs did you get?
I've had like 15 jobs in the city.
Wow. You know, if you weren't a completely miserable person, think of how successful you would be. All right, well, I have clearly lost and you have clearly won. Which one is the lie, Michelle?
Oh, the one where I went on a job interview that I didn't know what I was doing.
I said that was the lie in the beginning. I was like, there is no way that Michelle lacks confidence. You have so much confidence. I am positive that if somebody said, hey, do you know more about Gabe's life than Gabe does? You'd be like, you're damn right I do. I am the best at everything.
I have lied on interviews saying that I knew stuff I didn't know, but I didn't just pretend to be like, fashion. I've done that before, totally. And I don't do that.
I think it's a little bit sad that I did not immediately recognize that as a lie because I'm like, yeah, I can see Michelle doing that. I can completely see Michelle doing that. That does not speak highly of you.
You're just mad because I won.
That is true. I am always
You made
mad.
it really obvious. Like, you really made it obvious.
I made it obvious. I made it too easy for you.
You made it like really easy. Do you really think that I would not know that you practice perfect sleep hygiene?
But everybody fails. Just because you try to have good sleep hygiene doesn't mean that you're always successful.
But you in sleep hygiene?
Fine. See, you were paying attention when I talk.
Oh, I have heard you talk about sleep hygiene like 25 times, maybe more.
All right, Michelle, you did win. Now, as everybody knows, this is episode 1 of a 10-episode limited run season 2 that we're doing here on A Bipolar, a Schizophrenic, and a Podcast. And 2 Truths and a Lie was ever popular on the original series, and nobody ever got to play but Gabe and Michelle. So we've decided to have a little contest complete with a prize. Michelle and I are going to tell you a story. That's it. We're going to tell you a story, and you have to decide if Gabe and Michelle are telling the truth or if Gabe and Michelle are telling a lie. And what you will do is you will email us at bsp@thisemotionallife.org and just tell us whether it's a truth or a lie and why. That makes you eligible. In a future episode, we are going to tell everybody if this is a truth or a lie, and somebody's going to win. Now listen, if multiple people get it right, which clearly there's only two options, so multiple people are going to get it right, we are going to put your name in a drawing. So not everybody is going to win, but if you get it right, you have a chance to win a swag prize pack from Gabe and Michelle. All right, Michelle, are you ready?
I am so ready.
Okay, now remember, you can't tell people in the story whether or not it's truth or a lie.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay.
Okay. So about 3 years ago, time is a construct, Michelle and I were at a conference and we were working together and our rooms were across the hall. And
because of our last names, it was alphabetical. That's why we were across the hall.
You thought that was germane to the story?
Well, I'm trying to give everyone a good visual context, is that we were directly across the hall because my last name is Hemmer and your last name is Howard. So we were directly across the hall from each other. So it's not like it just happened, but it happened.
At some point, Michelle got the idea that she needed to wake me up by banging on my door. So Michelle, who... we're just going to go with underdressed. I'm going to give you some dignity in this story and not point out the nudity that may or may not have been involved. And you banged on my door underclothed. The problem is I was not in my room because I practice good
sleep hygiene.
So I was already up and at breakfast. So Michelle, upon realizing that I wasn't in my room, went to go back into her room. Now, the problem when you're underdressed is you don't have pockets. What do you keep in a pocket, Michelle?
You keep a room key.
And what did Michelle Hammer not have?
A room key. So there I was with no pants on. I had no pants on in the hallway of a hotel room at a conference. Oh no.
Yeah, you're selling it. Okay, so Michelle couldn't just go down and get let into her room because she had
no pants on.
Now, I'm already downstairs. So later that day, I'm just like minding my own business and people are like, hey, did you know that Michelle knocked on your door underclothed? And I was like, say what now? Yeah, Michelle.
Gabe was not pleased.
Gabe was not pleased. You don't knock on people's doors naked. That's not a thing. Who taught you that? I can hear your mother in her New York accent going, no, Michelle would not do that.
No.
And I can hear your dad.
My mom would say she would do that. She would know I would do that. And she would say, I thought you grew out of this. This is something a child would do. You are supposed to be an adult now. Why would you do that?
She would say, I thought you grew out of this. Was this a problem in your early years? Were you just running through hotel rooms, scantily clad, banging on people's doors?
No, but the stupidity things, I don't, you know.
There is no way your mother thinks you're ever going to grow out of stupidity. That I know is a lie. Your mother has resigned herself to your stupidity. She's like, nope, this is who I have. I think that is enough of the story. You have to decide, is that a true story? Did Michelle do this? Or are we just lying? Is it a truth? Is it a lie? It is up to you to decide. So please email us at bsp@thisemotionallife.org and tell us your guess and tell us why you guessed that way. On a future episode, we will tell you whether or not it was a truth or a lie, and we will also announce the winner. The winner gets a prize pack. It's a super cool prize pack. It's basically all the stuff that we can't sell that we're going to put in a box and send to you. So, a lot of like chipped mugs, ripped t-shirts.
Underwear.
Michelle.
I got a lot of like underwear I could like throw away, but if you want it.
No, that's not the podcast. That's the wrong wrong podcast. Thank you everybody for listening in. My name is Gabe Howard and I am the author of Mental Illness is an Asshole, which is available signed on GabeHoward.com. And of course, my super cool co-host, Michelle Hammer, can be found at Schizophrenic.NYC, which is where you can get all of her awesome shirts, pillboxes, leggings, mugs, stickers, and more. You know, the stuff that's not rejected. Both of us are public speakers and you can reach us on our respective websites. And listen, do us a favor. Recommend this podcast to a friend. Like, use your actual words. Say, hey, you need to be listening to A Bipolar, A Schizophrenic, and a podcast on your favorite podcast player. Don't forget to subscribe or follow. It's absolutely free. And we will see you on our next episode.
I quit.
You can't quit. BetterHelp will be pissed. They're our sponsor. And listen, you can get 10% off your first month by going to betterhelp.com/BSP22.
You've been listening to A Bipolar, A Schizophrenic, and a Podcast, Season 2. Previous episodes can be found on your favorite podcast player or by visiting thisemotionallife.org/BSP. Have comments or show ideas? Hit up the show at bsp@thisemotionallife.org. Gabe and Michelle are not medical professionals. This podcast is not a substitute for medical advice and is for entertainment purposes only. If you need help, please call your doctor, emergency services, the National Suicide Hotline at 1-800-273-8255, or text HOME, HOME, to 741-741. Thank you for listening.
All right, now let's sing Bop.
Bop, boop, bop, ba doo, bop, shooba da ba doo, bop, shooba da ba doo. Yeah, yeah, bop, booba da ba doo, bop, bibba da ba boo, bop, bibba da ba yeah. Hey, yeah. I don't even know the words, the actual words.